Hi, second graders, it's Mrs. Krause again. Time for Number Corner. Let's get started. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, 2020. This is how you would write today's date in words. And this is how you would write today's date in numbers. Let's go ahead and flip over today's Number Corner calendar card and see what's on it. I'm wondering if you had a chance from yesterday to ponder what you think these brown rectangles are on our calendar cards. Well, if you guess that they are gardens and garden beds, you are correct. Today we will be doing an activity, a calendar activity that has to do with Raphael and his dad making some raised garden beds together. Let's take a look. Raphael's raised garden bed. Hi, my name is Raphael and I love to plant seeds and watch them grow. Today, my dad and I are building a raised garden bed for our spring vegetable garden. A raised garden bed is kind of like a sandbox. To make one, you nail boards together to make a rectangular box like this. Then you fill the box with good soil so your plants will grow. Here's a picture of my dad filling our raised garden bed with soil. When you're finished, you can divide the garden bed into parts or sections and plant something different in each section. We are going to divide our raised garden bed into 4 equal sections and plant a different kind of vegetable in each section. What kind of vegetables do you think we should plant in our bed? By the way, you can also make a circular raised garden bed like this one, but it's a little harder to build. I really like how Raphael asked us a question. What kind of vegetables do you think we should plant in our bed? Can you brainstorm with me a list of vegetables that you could plant in a raised bed like Raphael's? I'm thinking of some vegetables that I plant in my raised vegetable garden at my house. I like to plant tomatoes and cucumbers, spinach, and squash. What do you like to plant? Well, it looks like by our activity right here that Raphael and his father are going to divide their raised garden beds into 4 equal sections and plant a different kind of vegetable in each section. My question for you is, if Raphael and his father divide their raised bed into 4 equal parts, what is the fraction name for each of those parts? If you said those parts could be called a fourth or a quarter of the rectangle, you are correct. Now let me show you something. I have a piece of paper here and I'm going to fold it into 4 parts. Fold it like this, and fold it like this. And when I open it up, this is what I see. Now my question to you is this. In my example that I'm holding in front of you, would each of these parts be able to be called a fourth or a quarter? Why or why not? In fact, these pieces would not be able to be called 1/4 or a fourth or a quarter of a piece of paper because the pieces are not equal. So in order to be called a fourth or a quarter of a piece of paper, all the parts need to be the same size or equal size. Now for this next part, I would love for you to interact and follow along with me. What you're going to need is you're going to need 3 rectangles out of paper that are the same exact size. And what I would like you to do with those 3 rectangles is I would like you to try to fold each rectangle into 4 equal parts or fourths differently from the rectangle before it. So using your 3 rectangles, I would like you to fold each rectangle into fourths a different way. I'll check back in with you in a second to see what you've come up with. Well, here's what I came up with for my 3 different ways to fold my paper into fourths. First way, is I took my rectangle, I folded it in half the hamburger way, and then I folded that in half again, and when I opened it up, I had 4 equal pieces. So this piece is 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. Here's another way that I folded my paper into fourths, or 4 equal pieces. Again, took my piece of paper and I folded it the hamburger way, the short way, and then I folded it again, but I folded it the tall way, like a long skinny hot dog, to make like a stick of gum. And when I unfolded that, I again got 4 equal pieces. So each piece is 1/4, or a fourth of the piece of paper. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. And the last way that I folded my paper was I took my rectangle and I folded it the hot dog way, and then I folded it the hot dog way again to make a really long skinny piece of paper. And when I unfolded it, again, I have 4 equal pieces. So each piece is 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. Now I want you to take a look at the size and shapes of my fourths that I created. So this is 1/4. I want you to look at the size and the shape of it. Here's another fourth that I created right up here. You'll notice that the size and shape are different from the first one I showed you. And my last example, this fourth right here. Now, my question to you is, if they're not the same size and shape, how do you know that they're all fourths? And can you prove it to me? Well, this is a really tricky question, and a question that a lot of second graders, it is hard for them to grasp. But let me try to explain it the best I can. So yes, even though the shapes of the fourths are different, they are still all 1/4, and they are still all the same size because I started with the same size whole. Did you know that this is 1/4? Both of these are 2/4. These are 3/4, and all of these together make 4/4, which makes 1 whole piece of paper. And since I started with all of the pieces of paper, all the rectangles were the same size, that means that their fourths are also the same size as well. 4/4 is the same as 1 whole. The last thing I have for you today is to circle back around. If you would like, I want you to take out your garden vegetables list from at the beginning of this lesson, and I want you to choose 4 of the vegetables in your list that you have brainstormed, and I want you to plant them like a little crop in each one of the fourths on one of your paper gardens that you just created. So here's an example of one of my paper gardens. And I'm going to put the word spinach. I'm going to plant my spinach here. Tomatoes are going to go down here. Cucumbers and squash. You can either even add an illustration or maybe use one of your other pieces of paper to plant some more garden beds that have fourths. Well, happy planting. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.